If you spend any amount of time online, you're well aware that the internet just absolutely loves to spin a narrative, right? It totally thrives on drama, speculation, and all that sensationalism. But as focused learners, we want to know what's actually real. So today, we're taking a highly structured, totally impartial deep dive into the very chaotic world of celebrity buzz. We're relying strictly on the visual evidence, the confirmed timelines, and the concrete data to really separate the Hollywood rumor mill's facts from its absolute fictions. And we've got a lot of ground to cover today, from alleged relationship drama that totally gripped the internet to some massive career moves that happened right behind closed doors. So let's get right to it.
Benny and Selena are reportedly getting a divorce. Now, this claim recently rocketed across the internet, racking up a massive 8 million views almost overnight. And honestly, this immediately establishes the undeniable, incredibly high stakes of current internet hearsay. Think about it. When an unverified statement about two huge public figures can reach millions of people while most of us are literally fast asleep, it creates this fully formed alternate reality. Fans wake up, they see the headlines, and boom, they instantly react to a narrative that hasn't even been verified by a single credible source.
And, of course, the narrative didn't stop there. It rarely does, right? The internet actively tried to build this highly dramatic, almost cinematic storyline around this supposed breakup. Reports started circulating with these incredibly specific yet completely unconfirmed details. Like there was this massive claim that Selena actually caught Benny cheating through text messages. And the story went on to say that she was so absolutely devastated, she packed up her things and literally left their shared Los Angeles home in the middle of the night. People were online analyzing every little micro-expression, digging up old, completely unrelated videos of him interacting with friends, all just to fuel this newly manufactured fire. Now, it's incredibly easy to get swept up in that kind of sensationalism, isn't it? The drama is undeniably engaging, for sure. But there is one absolutely crucial question I want you to ask yourself every single time a wild, rapid-fire rumor crosses your feed. What is actually true? Today, we're going to pivot completely away from the wild, unsubstantiated drama. Instead, we're applying our structured investigation to see what the facts actually say when you strip away all that digital noise.
So here's our clear roadmap for this explainer. First up, we'll fact-check the Selena and Benny situation. Then, we'll look at the confirmed wedding bells for Harry Styles and Zoe Kravitz. After that, we'll map out Kylie Jenner's strategic matchmaking masterclass. Fourth, we're examining Sydney Sweeney's sudden cut from a massive blockbuster. And finally, we'll wrap the whole thing up by looking at the true cost of all this digital buzz.
All right, let's jump straight into Chapter 1, Selena and Benny. Fact check.
Now, what's really interesting here is the massive divide between the rumor and the reality. While the internet circulated this widely shared image claiming to be an Instagram story from Selena saying, "I'm single, no drama, no hidden story," the reality is entirely different. There have been absolutely zero official press releases, neither party has provided interviews or transcripts confirming a split, and that viral "I'm single" Instagram story, it was completely fabricated, literally fake. In fact, platforms actually had to attach labels to it warning users that it was fake news. It just goes to show how easily a completely fabricated image can bypass logic and spark a massive public meltdown. So you might be wondering, why was Selena suddenly the target of all this intensely negative energy out of nowhere? Well, it ties into what we're calling the Bieber Coachella effect. Recently, Justin Bieber had this incredibly joyful, widely praised, and deeply emotional performance at Coachella. And the internet, it's a highly reactive place. It often operates like a pendulum. So as the digital tides shifted to celebrate his current high and his triumphant return to the stage, this weird wave of fresh scrutiny and harsh, totally unprompted comparisons were unfairly directed right back at Selena.
And this scrutiny really intensified because of a specific business move. Right as Justin was performing his highly anticipated second Coachella set, Selena released a vinyl EP titled Droplets, which features the track Bluest Flame. Now, without taking any sides here, the timing of this release became highly debated online. It's really fascinating to see how quickly a coincidence can be weaponized into fact. Critics immediately formed these elaborate fan theories, suggesting she was deliberately trying to ride the wave of Bieber's trending name to promote her own products. On the flip side, others argued it was simply a scheduled automated release orchestrated by a massive record label months in advance. Either way, the timing served as the absolute perfect catalyst for the internet rumor mill to go into absolute overdrive. Moving right along to Chapter 2. Harry and Zoe, Wedding Bells.
Now there is a stark contrast in how the public treats different high-profile couples. While Selena and Benny were subjected to intense scrutiny, fake screenshots, and completely fabricated divorce rumors, Harry and Zoe are experiencing widespread, unified public celebration over their confirmed engagement. It's actually a fascinating look at the collective psychology of the internet and how the digital audience actively chooses who they want to protect and who they want to mercilessly dissect.
And the details of this engagement are out in the open, painted by some very vivid eyewitness accounts. Observers shared super specific details, noting that Zoe was seen sporting an absolutely enormous diamond ring on her left finger, like so incredibly heavy it was reportedly leaning to the side of her hand. They described this highly romantic scene where Harry, acting like the perfect gentleman, waved her off to a waiting car. He leaned in for a kiss, leaving Zoe with this huge, undeniable smile on her face as she drove away.
Honestly, it really highlights Zoe Kravitz's undeniable track record. She's kind of a veritable it-boy magnet, with a well-documented history of organically connecting with Hollywood's most sought-after leading men. Securing an engagement with a global superstar like Harry Styles absolutely cements her status as an enduring presence in the high-stakes world of Hollywood romance.
All right, let's get right into Chapter 3, Kylie's Matchmaking Masterclass.
Now, this is where we get a peek at how the Hollywood machine really operates behind closed doors. This is the PR pipeline. Let's explore how certain high-profile relationships aren't always just, organic chance meetings at a coffee shop, but can actually be deliberately orchestrated. If we trace the timeline of Kendall Jenner and Jacob Elordi, it all started in the cold months of winter, during those exhausting, relentless awards season marathons. Jacob was heavily nominated for the project Frankenstein, and he was spending a vast amount of time with his co-star, Timothée Chalamet. By early spring, the core group had moved their hangouts to the privacy of Kendall's Los Angeles house, where the chemistry really started to build. And finally, by April, they were seen publicly together at Justin Bieber's massive Weekend 1 Coachella afterparty. But how did Jacob and Kendall actually get from point A to point C?
Well, enter Kylie Jenner. According to insiders, Kylie was the absolute mastermind here. The strategic motive is fascinating when you think about the logistics at the highest level of fame. Kylie is currently dating Timothée Chalamet, and navigating high-profile, incredibly stressful celebrity events alone, surrounded by literally thousands of cameras, can be daunting for anyone. She wanted a reliable, comfortable, fully vetted double-date buddy for these massive industry nights. Seeing Jacob around constantly during awards season, she realized he'd be the perfect match for Kendall, so she actively pushed her sister to get him out of the friend zone. It's this incredible conspiratorial glimpse into how social convenience and strategic matchmaking govern the very top tier of celebrity relationships.
Let's move to Chapter 4 and see how this all builds. Sydney Sweeney's Prada cut.
3. That is the exact number of minutes that were completely cut from the highly anticipated, massive blockbuster film, The Devil Wears Prada 2. Sydney Sweeney was slated to have a pivotal 3-minute cameo alongside absolute heavyweights like Anne Hathaway, Meryl Streep, and Emily Blunt. It was a massive career milestone. They even did early, strategic press about it to build the hype, but when the final premiere rolled around, the audience was shocked to find that she was nowhere to be seen.
The timeline here is absolutely critical to understanding why this happened. Sydney was spotted filming her scenes on set in August of 2025. Coincidentally, this was right after that massive, sprawling internet uproar known as Jeansgate. The resulting online fallout created a deeply polarizing, inescapable conversation around her name. Just think about how fast online polarization can occur and how deeply it can stain a reputation in a matter of weeks. Meanwhile, in a twist of sharp cinematic irony, another highly publicized cameo in the exact same film, Lady Gaga's, survived the final cut completely intact.
The reality of the Hollywood business model is incredibly harsh and totally unforgiving. Creating conversation and having a polarizing reputation can absolutely work in your favor for generating personal buzz, securing brand deals, and keeping your name at the top of the daily headlines. But when you're dealing with a massive, multi-million-dollar studio franchise like The Devil Wears Prada, the executive priority fundamentally shifts. They want a guaranteed return on their massive financial investment. They absolutely do not want to inherit an actor's online problems. If a star's digital reputation risks alienating even a fraction of the general audience, the studio will not hesitate. That actor will simply be left on the cutting room floor.
Which brings us to our final section, Chapter 5, The Cost of Buzz.
Tying all these distinct, fascinating chapters together leaves us with one overarching question to end our explainer today.
We've looked at Selena navigating the heavy emotional toll of entirely fabricated claims. We've seen Harry and Zoe safely protected by a positive, celebratory public narrative. We've mapped out Kylie engineering a relationship for high society convenience. And we just saw Sydney Sweeney lose a prime, career-defining role because of sudden digital controversy. We've always heard that old industry adage, right? There is no such thing as bad publicity, just spell my name right. But looking at the very real, tangible, and sometimes devastating consequences on the biggest stars in the world, does all press really equal good press? Think about who actually controls the narrative, how quickly that narrative can turn, and what it ultimately costs the real people standing in the spotlight. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this helped you see clearly through the digital noise, and I'll catch you next time.